Welcome, everybody, to another edition of our driver bio. This month in October, we have Abraham Gutierrez. Abraham, thank you for joining us from GT Racing. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Eric. Glad to be here and let's get this thing going.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know some people are going to say, wait a minute, your car's for sale. You know, he's not even racing 1600, but it's not sold yet, right? I mean, what's going on with that?
Are still there. We have some potential buyers, but at the end of the day, if the car's still in my possession by December, we might be up in Rage at the River and continue to do some short course racing. So we still have maybe some stuff left to do in this
Oh,
year, the next
right.
year.
Well, so speaking of that, tell me a little bit about the car. It's got a lineage to it. I mean, it's a pretty well-known car for those that don't know. Abraham, go ahead.
Yeah, so my car is a Lumicraft. So just stating it out that there's not a lot of Lumicraft 16 cars out there. That car was previously owned by Nate Martino, but before that it was Luke's 16 car.
Luke McMillan.
That car, yeah, Luke McMillan. So that car basically won everything with Luke. Basically all the Bajas you could name, all the
Mhm.
big races back in the day, Prim Rage, and with me won Rage at the River, and it won a bunch of shootout races and a big money races. So yeah, that car is it's pretty bitchin'. I honestly, people ask me like what's up with the setup and everything, but I haven't done much to it since I acquired the car. Ever since we got in, it felt right at home with, suspension tuning and everything. So it's for people who ask me, I'd say that car has everything to win anywhere you take it, whether it be a short course race, just put the 12-gallon tank in there, and whether it be a desert race, put the 22-gallon tank in there and go win some races for
Yeah,
sure.
right on. So let's talk about you a little bit. What got you into racing? How long you been doing this?
So I've been racing cars since 2017, and I mentioned cars because I did a lot of D38 racing, dirt bike racing
Okay.
since 2012 from to 2017. But car racing, I got in at 2017. I was 18 years old, and I'd say basically got into racing because of my brother and dad. They started racing a 16 car, not my 16 car, but they had a Dorman Curry. It was a mixture. It was in between builders, but ever since 2005, they got into racing, and just been out in the desert since I can remember. Even before that, just 3, 4, 5 years old,
Mhm.
spectating in the desert. Our love for the sport has been there since at least since I can remember. And when we got the chance to hop in a 16 car since 2017, haven't looked back. Don't plan on stopping anytime soon. As long as I can still, financially and physically be able to race, I
That's
plan on doing some racing, hopefully when I'm 60 years old. Hope
yeah, right, right. So what was your first race?
My first race was with my brother Alejandro, who people also know race, well, not
Okay.
not not that much anymore, but raced the 16 car. It was in 2017, and it was a Mexicana Logistics 300 down in Da Salada. Uh,
Okay.
we were supposed to do a race before that, I believe a record race that same year, but you know how we got the car, it didn't have the badass major performance engine in it, so we just ran it as is, and the engine blew when we were testing for the other race. So we ended up, getting a major performance engine doing the Mexicana Logistics, and we ended up getting the win. I don't remember exactly by how many minutes, but it was a pretty good car count. And that basically fueled the fire me and my brother already had. So it's like, we're here,
Nice.
race, beat all the Mexicali guys. So what's next? Let's see what's next, and let's make this thing, a successful program.
It's awesome. So you've raced Mexico, obviously, and the United States. I mean, which where do you prefer? What kind of races? Do you like the Baja races, or do you like the sprint races in the US, or the longer races in the US?
Uh, I'm a, I mean, I think people know this, but I really, really enjoy sprint type races. That just gets the adrenaline going. It's not like you don't really have to make I mean, you make a strategy, but it's basically this or that. There's not that many things that
Yeah.
comes into play, and I just like shutting off that part of the brain where where you have a 400-mile race course, and you're like you have to look at the car, you have certain sections that you can push and
Mhm.
a thing come into play. Whereas in, I don't know, Rage at the River, Battle at Prim, Code Grand Prix, it's just
Right.
go, no
Just
scares,
go.
nothing, just let it hang. And Glen Helen, if it goes your way, it will, and then you just have to push to the hardest of your ability without making any major mistakes.
Sure, sure. And once that green flag drops, I mean, that strategy, you might as well just take it, throw it out the window because everybody else has a strategy too, and they all conflict. So,
Yeah, at least at least those 2-day races, you might get a strategy going for Sunday. If you get
mhm,
enough of a gap in that Saturday race.
right,
Basically, that Saturday race is just give me splits through the radio, and you're still pushing. You're still gonna call them
right,
out. Just those last 2-3 laps, if you have a good lead, you might tone it down a bit, just depending on how rough the course is.
for
Save
sure.
it for the next day, but it's just basically go, just send
Yep,
it.
yep. So who was the most instrumental in getting you going in the races? I mean, you're a mentor or a hero who has like really helped you develop your hone skill your hones, especially as a driver and the love of the sport.
So I'd have to say my hero, of course, is my dad.
Hmm.
Just not just based on the life side of it, just on his work ethic and everything he's helped me and my brothers out with going racing. I mean, just without him being there, none of this would be possible. Um, on the race side of things, I really like those drivers that they have that I sort of I like to think I'm sort of that way, that we have that sprint side where you can just go and push, but then you also have that side where you have to tone it down. So because I think like everyone can drive a car fast, maybe not
Hmm.
fast, but everyone can go out there and beat on a car and go fast. But I think it's really comes down to those drivers that have the specifics, know when and where to push, and know how to take care of the equipment. Really have that that know to how to look at the car, feel the car,
Sure.
hear the car. All those little details to me make a really big difference. And just to put some names out there, I think Rob Mack comes into play because a big short course guy.
Yep.
I mean, he's now getting into his older days, but he's still, a consistent, pretty fast driver. Luke McMillan, I really look up to him, just how he came up, through the ranks and did the things the proper way, because what people say, if you can drive a 16 car, you can drive anything out there. And I think that's just a testament at what he's done in his career. And another big hero that I have, or not mentor, but a big hero would be like Travis Pastrana.
Okay.
I really respect those guys that can do it on and off the bike. I mean, I just went big stage, but Ricky Johnson, what he did back in the day, racing dirt bike,
Hmm.
and then coming right now with the Vildoso Latin, and just, I mean, that guy's, I'd say he's a little bit older, but he can still rail. So
Yep, that's right.
I like the guys that can translate it, who are really badass dirt bike riders back in the day, and then can
Hmm.
translate it over to the car, because it's not a done deal. You can be stupid fast in a dirt bike. It helps you in the car, but it doesn't mean you're gonna do it the right way. So, I just really respect those guys. And off the side of racing, I really like to give a shout out to Joe, my prep guy. He's been in it. He's been in this longer than us, and he's really helped me throughout my 16 career, and he's a 16 driver himself. So
Hmm.
he's really helped me on that part of those little tricks and things that we do to the car that not a lot of people really do what we do. They,
Sure.
they know what we do behind the scenes, but I think it comes down to how much work and dedication you're willing to put into it, and all these little tips and tricks that those tricks. I know your
Well,
brother knows those tricks, but not a lot of people know them. So
it's funny because it's just a VW, right? How
yeah,
hard can it be? It's just a Volkswagen. How hard? It's it's all about in the details. I was just talking about this with somebody else today. You know, those little tricks, those little details, making sure that everything is perfect, because you got to make sure that it lasts the 1,000 miles for the 1,000. You know, or both days in Laughlin. And Laughlin is fun, and as short as it is a brutal race, and you got to know those tricks. You got to know those details. You touched a little bit about it in just a second ago about, you know, transferring from motorcycles into cars, and if you can drive a 16 car, you can pretty much drive anything else. I know you're dabbling in that. You got your 10 car, and you won the Moore race in July. What is outside 1600? What's your favorite class?
Uh, I'd like to say I'm a buggy dork. Um, I like
Yeah,
the
a lot of us are.
the 10 car is just basically a 16 car on steroids. You're still wheeling it. I think the higher you go up in the categories, you're wheeling less. You're doing a lot. You know, you're just it's smaller corrections and everything, but at the same time you're going way faster. So it's just as sketchy. I think nothing is as sketchy as a 16 car. I'll just put that out. I think that at least nothing that I've driven is feels as sketchy as a 16 car. I'm still yet to drive a class 1 car. I think that would be just watching videos and watching people drive it. I think that would be the comparison that it would be closest to a 16 car, because you're going way much faster than a 10 car, but you're
Yep.
still a buggy, you know, and it those you can just tell that it hurts. You have to have that car pretty stiff to be able to, you know, put it on top of the whoops, and it looked like it hurts a lot, but nothing compared like a 16 car. But if I had to choose my favorite class, we have some news coming up for the team, but we're soon to be truck guys. And
Okay.
you just haul ass in the trucks, and it takes the beat out of it. It takes, you know, that I mean everything is just here is just small corrections. But at the same time, that's where people are racing right now. And at the end of the day, we want to compete. And if you ask me, where do you like racing? It's like every time I go racing, I just ask all my friends, hey, you're gonna be at this. I don't like showing up to a race where two, three cars, four cars.
Sure.
I mean, if you're going for a points championship, then might as well.
It's
You
one
have
thing,
to,
right?
right? But
Yeah.
I never really went for point championships. I just like, you know, being where the money is, being where the competition is, and, you know, just basically proving you're the fastest guy out there. But if I had to choose a class, I'd say class 1. I haven't driven it, but just of how I am, I think that's the class that I really enjoy.
All right, all right. And again, you touched on all this just a little bit. You said that driving a 1600 car, I mean, it can get sketchy. I mean, you are every time you're driving, or any of us, like you're wide open, driving all the time, and just the small little margin of error, and next thing you know, you're really going for a ride. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in a 1600 car?
The craziest thing, this is funny, but the craziest thing that's happened to me in a 16 car is running over my co-dog Edgar. You know Edgar.
Yeah.
So we raced with Arturo Honnold. He invited us to race. I believe is 2021 San Felipe 250, I think.
Okay.
And something in the front broke, and you know we ended up limping it. We were out of the race by that time. I think the kingpin or something in the front broke, and we ended up, you know, taking the shocks up because, you know, pandemic. There
Yep.
were no shocks out there, so we're not like, let's just make sure we get everything that might get hurt, you know, just like
Hmm.
to the next bit. And then we were running in this big rain run. He was sort of on my left side, you know, just
So
counting.
he's outside the car.
Not that we're going slow.
Oh,
By this time, all the Baja bugs, everyone
yeah.
has basically just a few, you know, cars that had issues like us going by.
Uh-huh.
But he's on the left side of the car, just balancing that way the front end,
Hmm.
like do this. And then I was only going like, I don't know what, like 8, 9 miles per hour. And for some reason, we like sort of got us stuck in this rain rut. And then I just see Edgar, you know, just like I just see him like and we went to a stop. I just see him fly by. But the funny thing is, I sort of, you know, felt like this, like, doom, doom. So I basically went over his. Thank God he had a helmet on, because if not, it wouldn't have
Oh, man.
that much of a funny, crazy story. But I can say I ran over my co-dog. We always, every time we remember it, it's just fun
Yeah.
saying, I'm not that proud of it. But that's basically, I'd say that's the craziest thing that's happened to me racing and off the car and racing. I didn't have any accidents in the 16 car, but you know, those moments where you're just like you're in the air like this
Yep.
seconds.
Then it's backwards, and then it's up like the, yeah, yeah,
You don't know what's gonna happen. And I always tell people like the main difference is like in the 10 car, you don't get those sketchy moments as often. Whereas in a 16 car, I think what really helps the drivers is that you have to be comfortable, I'd say being uncomfortable.
yep.
If you're gonna go win a race in a 16 car, you're gonna be sideways, you're gonna be doing a lot of this, and you just have to be comfortable doing it because there's no way around it. You know, that's the way the cars are built. That's where they're built for. So yeah, just the craziness of, you know, just being on the edge the whole time and being on the limit and yeah,
Hmm.
get you all around.
What do you think is your most memorable race?
2000, without a doubt, 2019 Rage at the River. We don't get those car counts anymore. It's sad, but I mean, it's just the
Yeah.
way it is. But 2019 Rage at the River with, I don't remember if Snore and More were split it in that year. Do you remember?
No, I'd have to look. I think it was one of the last races they
Yeah,
did
it might
together. There was
have
like
been
40 or 50 cars at that race, wasn't there?
50 something, close to
Yeah.
60. And just, you know, just giving a little bit of feedback. So we do a lot of desert races, Snore, but we
Hmm.
didn't have the best of luck. So I came into Rage at the River 2018, just, you know, kid,
Hmm.
knowing what's up, not knowing where we're gonna be. And we ended up having an issue the last day, but Kurt and Bud got me pretty good. I mean, but you know, all these years you heard like no one hangs with him, you know, like for I don't remember ever since I was a kid, like you see all these badass videos of Bud and Kurt just duking it out, but
Right.
no one really close to them. And that 2018 Rage at the River, I had issues, but that first day I got third place, and I'm like, okay, like it's my second.
Right.
I have, I might have something for this old guys in the near future.
And
And
Bud might take issue to that. He's not that old, but yeah.
he's older than me. I like
Yeah.
Oliver, and he's a good friend of ours. So I just
Yeah.
call him Will just for, you know, because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
older
Yeah.
than me. But 2019 Rage at the River, second year, we know we had a I think yeah, low comp already in
Yep.
2009.
Hmm.
Your brother Daniel, he beat the crap out of us in
At the
Prim
print. Yeah.
here.
Right.
Yeah, because Andy's like, hey, get a low comp, get a low comp. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's a, you know, sort of a big expense. So I told him like, till someone comes and whoops my ass in a low comp, I'll switch over. And you
Yeah.
know, he told me like, okay, you better look out for Daniel and Prim. And yeah,
Yeah.
he put a smoke in on all of us. And then that next day we put the order in for the low comp and it was funny because Rage at the River was the first race that I just test and the only seat time I had with that engine is just testing and you know go
Hmm.
to racing. Ever since I tested, I'm like, okay, this might be
Right.
interesting because it's you know it's a good you could definitely tell that that car it's that engine's way faster than the high comp. I know right now, you know, we're gonna touch base on that, but with some changes, it might be a little equal now. But back in 2019, definitely the low comp was the way to
Right.
go. So we ended up getting Ward up qualifying, so P1.
Hmm.
And then Ward got me day one by like 17, 20 seconds, I believe. Um, you know, I got a little sad, but you know, just nothing you could do, you know, just push the next day. So our strategy was Sunday, you know, just go out there and send it. You know, the moon bumps Sunday, they hurt and you know,
Oh
they
yeah.
hook up the car and you know you're hurting the car. People say like, oh, Rage is a short race. It's short, but
No.
having to go through those moon bumps 6 laps in a row with how beat up it gets, I'd say
Hmm.
it's a tough course. So we were just like all or nothing, you know, just send it. Let's see if he breaks or I break or if I make a mistake or if he makes a mistake. So we ended up getting him off the start. He got me off the start and then I got him through the moon bumps. And then I don't know, I believe lap 2 or 3. I was just sending it. I mean, I was just in kill mode and you know, coming that big down straightaway, crossing I'll
Hmm.
send you this video that way you can post it over, but crossing the road and then that first left-hand turn where you're basically going flat out.
Flat out.
he made a mistake and rolled over behind me. I have it on camera because I had the rear view camera, but basically that was and then just cruised it. Something broke in my car on the last lap.
I
Uh,
remember that.
but we had a pretty good advantage over Fernie and Caloche, I think.
Okay.
They passed me, but just at the time difference that I got them Saturday
On Saturday.
with the win. That's the best race I can remember. That a lot of things happen, a lot of nerves. That last lap with the car broken, I was like, I was praying, man. You better believe that I was praying that that car held up, and I was just trying to go as fast as possible without ripping the arm up and ending my day. So yeah, that I'd say that's the best race I've had. Prim, we've done some pretty good qualifying in Prim, and not quite yet. I think Prim doesn't like me. It's one of those places where you're like, can't get it done. We've qualified first, I don't know, 2 3 times, and just we won days, but we haven't managed to get an overall there.
You
So
didn't put it all together. Yeah.
what I think I missed to do in a 16 car is that race, and if I get the chance to do it next year, I'll be out there, and because it hurts. It hurts not getting that race win under my belt. But I mean, it's racing, people
Right.
go 10, 12, 15 years without winning one single race. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it definitely hurts. But yeah, 2019 Rage at the River was the most
Well, your
memorable.
most, yeah. Excellent. Do you like to go and spectate races? Which ones, and if you do, which ones do you like to go spectate?
I like spectating score,
Okay.
especially the Baja 1000. If I don't race it, I'm usually out there just because of the nice weather.
Yeah.
You get to camp out and look at vehicles at two different spots and having fun, just basically call up a few friends and, hey, you have an extra tire, I'm gonna be in this mile marker, and sort of get that, racer vibe into it. But yeah, it's just basically relax and go have fun.
Nice.
With our friends, the Hardens, we do some spectating in the States as well. I was supposed to be in the Cali 300 this weekend spectating, but some things came up that we couldn't make it. But yeah, spectating is always fun. You get to drink beers. You're not stressed out about, is the car ready? Is this
Right.
ready? This strategy, pits, everything. It's just go out there, have some fun, have some beers, have some nice food, and have a good time. But yeah, when I can, I definitely like to be out there spectating.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So you're making the transition from 1600. You're already in class 10, and you said there's a truck in the near future. But if to stay in 1600, if you were to stay in there and you can wave a magic wand and change it, what's the one thing that you would probably change in the class if you could?
Nothing to the rules. I think based on the rules, I think nowadays they've been trying to get low comps and high comps closer together. I think that's the first thing, as fair as you can have it for basically anyone who has either or, just be able to go in. I think that's what would be perfect, because they try to make it close, but there's always going to be one that's going to be a little better than the other. And I mean, that's just racing, and that's the part of where you have to figure that out and see what works best for you.
If they never put a budget cap on it, I don't think you'll ever get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen, but I mean, it's racing, it's racing costs money, and at the end of the day, is how bad do you want it? How much are you willing to go through and
Sure.
see what works best for you and see what's best, But if I could change one thing of the class, I would like to see more throwdowns between the state guys and Mexico guys.
Okay.
That's something I would like to see. Just just have guys from even guys down south. They love racing down there, La Paz, Los Cabos, and everything. So I would just like to see a big shootout. Of winner take it all, something like that. That would be badass.
Right. Awesome. Are you for or against the 2D in the 1600 cars?
The what?
The 2D, the Mendiola, the 2D transmission.
I'm for it because that would save us a lot of money in service. But at the end of the day, like myself personally, I never ran it. I would have ran it if I did score things. There's no competition. Nowadays what you only have three. I don't know what the 400 count was, like 3 cars, something like that.
Yeah, 4 maybe.
Which is sad. I remember talking to Arturo Juan, my uncle, Back in the days, you know, I never saw it, but he told me like back in the days you had 30, 40, 12 cars, 30, 40, 16 cars. And, you know, I would have loved to been able to partake in that type of racing, you know, having that score side with a lot of entries. But I understand, you know, nowadays it's too expensive. We're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
You were saying nowadays it's too expensive.
Yeah. So nowadays it's too expensive to race 16 cars and score. And to be honest, I don't think it's worth it just because of, you know, these big categories, how they beat up the track. And it's not really, I would say it's not really even that fun. It's just, you know, go survive and have a clean race. And uh to be honest, to me that's no fun. But yeah, I mean that's basically my take on it. But in the stateside, we don't. Some people run it. It's not. It wouldn't make you competitive. You know, people running center lines, and you know, you want to have as much less weight possible, rotating weight, and you know, just a big beefier tranny. It's gonna slow you down. It might make your ring and pinions, and it might make your tranny last longer without taking it to service, but it won't help you win a big sprint race for sure.
Yeah. When Daniel and I were racing our 516 in the early 2000s, I mean, we were racing against 30 516s back in the early 2000s. So you're right. I mean, the car count's just not what it was. I mean, I think a lot of to do with it is all the side by sides and the manufacturing bonus money, you know, and everybody just wants to go faster. Which was one of the reasons why I was really for the low comp. I know there were some people that weren't for it, you know, but having that extra speed and that extra little bit of power, it just personally, I think it brought back a lot of enjoyment in the class.
Yeah.
So you've done both. You've done the high comp and the low comp. They've made a lot of great improvements in the classes especially in the high comp. I know Mike Malloy still has his high comp, and he switches back and forth between his low comp and his high comp, and he'll still run right up front. Mario's brother, Akala, his brother, Kevin runs a high comp. He runs a high comp, and he got third at Prim just last year or this year, right? Yeah. So I mean, they're doing great things with those high comps, and so they're getting a lot better closer between the two rules. You sort of told us already, but were you for the high comp or for the low comp? Sorry.
I think I'm for the low comp. I never went back and forth, and I never ran a high comp with these new regulations. But I like to say I'm for both of them. You know, I just as long as it's good racing, whatever works best for, you know, every individual, whatever their preference is. As long as at the end of the day we both go out there and have fun. I wouldn't, if I ever got back full time into 16 racing and I saw a high comp get super close to me, then you bet your ass that would be something I would look into, you know, just with the goal of seeing what would be fastest in my car. But right now, low comp's what I ran for this last 5 years, and I love it. I mean, you don't have to worry about that race fuel. And I'm all for, yeah, like you said, I remember before the low comp came in, you can sort of tell the class was sort of on a downhill, and then this low comp came into play, and you sort of revived things a little bit. So yeah, I'm all for it.
All right. So we're getting down to the end of here, but a couple more questions. How does Abraham prepare for his race? What do you have a pre-race routine? What gets you going? What keeps you down?
Well, you mean during like the race morning or the
race morning? Yep. Pre-race routine.
So race morning, I like to have myself a nice light breakfast. Shout out to my mom. She make people who you know.
Shout out to all the moms out there. Absolutely.
Yeah. Shout out to all the moms. You've tried my mom's guisados, Mexican guisados. I don't really munch into those the race morning because, you know, it's a little heavier on the stomach. But, you know, just some egg whites or a sandwich, fruit, energy bar. You know, just load up on protein. I say my race routine is just, you know, wake up in the morning, try and be as relaxed as possible. Hear some good music. I really like that question that you sent me, and I have this song that it's called Sailing. One of my favorite songs, and I think it just gets me into the, calm side of things. People are like, because you want to race, you're sort of hyped up. So
Are you
I
talking
look
about
like,
the yacht rock one, Sailing by Christopher Cross?
I don't know, but is it pretty mellow? If it's mellow, it might,
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's awesome.
I like that song, just sort of think myself that, just gonna go out there and cruise and, sort of get that calm factor down. And, besides that, just hydrate. Before I get in the car, if my mom's at the races, she'll always give me the blessing, get the
Hmm.
blessing from my dad, say goodbye to all those team members,
Hmm.
and they'll wish you luck, hop in the car with my headphones on and hear that song right before I put my helmet on. And I think that gets me ready to go.
It's a whole vibe, man. It's a whole vibe. I totally get it. I totally
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it. Yeah.
You sort of, it's like those movies, you have to get into your zone and lock into it. And some people might like, like more altering type of music, like rock or whatever, or something
Hmm.
like that, heavy metal. But it definitely to me is, look for something that calms me down because I'm already crazy and I know I'm gonna go spend it. So I just want something that, calms me down a bit.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
All right. As we finish up here, how about some fun facts or some things that most people don't know about you?
I think some facts people don't know about me is besides having our prep guy Joe, shout out to him again, which he makes sure the car's ready to go. Besides that, we're a small racing team. We get our everything ourselves done. The days leading up to the race, I'm out there, making sure we have all the tools and making sure we're ready to go. Um, but yeah, I mean that's basically it. Is we've been out. Fun fact is I've been out to the races with just Edgar, use
Yeah.
with basically with all your guys' help in the Hardens. But it doesn't take a lot to go out racing, especially in the States. Just load it up and go have some fun. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, Abraham, I really want to say thank you for doing this. I know we've been talking about this for some time and finally got it to get together and do this. So ending up here, do you have any sponsors or any people you actually really want to say thank you to?
for sure. First and foremost, my dad, which is our main sponsor, and then just going down the ladder, our companies, Gutierrez Trucking LLC, AG Warehouse and Truck Parking, which basically pay the bills. Ultra Wheels, I mean, they didn't have 16 car wheels, but now with the 10 car, they've been helping out a lot.
Mhm.
FNL, Fox, shout out to Free Beer, Jack Turpin, Mario Gutierrez, all those guys at Fox. They're the best. We've been I'm one of those guys where I really feel, how much time you put into tuning and prepping the car is gonna pay out the day of the race. And those guys they love to help. They're pretty involved with my race program. We're basically testing suspension
Mhm.
basically before every race. Right now the car ran the 400 and my next race in the 10 car is going to be Rage at the River. And I'm about to send out the shocks, just basically take advantage of of the prep that's still pretty decent. The car is good. So we're going to send out the shocks and, get it ready and try some new things that we can, say any specifics, but we're going to try some new internals and hopefully make it even faster for Rage this year. We won last year, but we want to go out there and win again. But if we can make it any easier on us, we'll for sure try and make it that way.
Excellent. Excellent. All
Yeah,
right. Abraham, thank you so much again. And hopefully in December, are we talking like maybe two cars?
yeah,
Maybe two cars. All right. All
I
right.
don't want to put any
Yeah,
specifics on it.
yeah.
We have some potential buyers, so if it happens, it's gonna happen. And if it doesn't happen and the car's still in my possession, we've seen a Mexican guy win in the 16 car, but we've never seen any Mexican guy win in both the 10 car and the 16 car
There you go. Yeah.
category. So that would be something that would be fun. We've thought about it and we hopefully it happens. We'll see what happens in
You just
December.
raced the 1600 car in both class 10 and 1600. I mean, if Rob Mack can do it in the 16 and 12 in an Alumacraft,
Yeah.
why not do in the class 10?
Yeah, shout out to Illumicraft. Also, Matt, he helps us. I forgot to mention him. He helps us out a lot with and basically anything we need. So shout out to
Excellent.
Illumicraft. They make pretty badass car. I think it's just proven this
Mhm.
nowadays. But yeah, hopefully we can get something going where I race both categories and hopefully come out on top on both of them for sure.
All right. All right, Abraham. Well, thank you very much. You have a great day, and we'll see you out the races.
Likewise, man. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me on here.
Thank you guys for
Bye-bye.
joining, and don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, share this with your friends, and leave a comment. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
See ya.
Well, it's not far down to paradise. At least it's not far. Oh, the can do miracles. Just the way you see. Believe me. It's not far to never land. Reason to pretend. And if the wind is right, you can find the joy of innocence again. Oh,